what is the biggest thing that's keeping you stuck? Why do you feel discontent despite achieving what you thought you needed? Something's missing. You've tried other solutions, but nothing has truly fixed your problem, up until now. Download the 3 reasons you're feeling discontent and how to fix it fast at www.jedbrotherson.com and quickly create a clear roadmap that helps you find peace, clarity, and fulfillment. Welcome to the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast, where Jed Brotherson takes you on a journey to confront the roots of your discontent and emerge significant. Each week, we dive deep into themes like overcoming harmful family dynamics, standing up for yourself with courage, speaking out against injustice, and cultivating healthy, authentic relationships. Be sure you visit our website at www.pulverizingthepatterns.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, get ready for empowering stories, expert insights, and actionable strategies that help you break free from negative patterns and create a life rooted in self-respect, clarity, and connection.
Today, I'm honored to have with me Mark Yuzuik. Mark has over 3 decades of inspirational leadership experience and also in the entertainment industry as a hypnotist. I met Mark about 4 years ago. I got to see him and Yolanda in action during an event I attended. Mark is very entertaining, but what I love is how he uses his gifts to help people identify patterns holding them back, and he pulverizes those patterns so that you can, as his book says, create the life that you want. Mark, earlier you said everyone has patterns they want to change, and then asked, why do people do what they don't want to do daily? And it made me ask, how can we better recognize the patterns that hold us back? As all our listeners might be listening, to help them become aware of the little things that they're not aware they're doing every day that gets us stuck in these patterns, these ruts. And how do you teach people how to identify and change them?
Well, I mean, because I had an opportunity to spend some time with you, you understand some of these as well. Nobody wakes up in the morning, Jed, and goes, what a beautiful day. I think I'm going to procrastinate, maybe have some fear, maybe not really get the best relationship speaking I can do with some people. And maybe I can put everything off till tomorrow because that's my goal. But yet, why do we do that?
Right.
It's like it's built into us. And here's why. Your mind is not designed for you to succeed. It's designed to find what's wrong. And it's also designed for you to make sure that you fit in instead of stand out. We want to make sure we're accepted, we're loved, we're good enough. Here's the other thing. What if I go for this and it doesn't work? Oh my God, what's going to happen? So what we do is even though we have motivation, we have desires, we have dreams, we have goals, we know we can do it, we have the information, we study, we surround ourselves with the right people, why do we hold back? What is that thing? That's that program on your subconscious mind. So we got to break through that pattern. The reason why we're doing that is because what if we do it and it doesn't work?
Yeah.
So what we do is we go, okay, so when you give up on something, you find yourself, you create reasons to be busy so you don't have to be productive. So you go, listen, I really want to get to this today. I just got to get these other things done first. And before you know it, a week, 2 weeks goes by, and then you've created a fact that, it's not the right time. I don't have enough money. It's not the right, knowledge. Oh my God. It's just, so your brain goes, wait a second. If you're going to give up, you're going to feel guilty because every thought is a physical response. So what happens is you start feeling guilty. So you have 2 choices at that point. Right? That's you either step up or your brain says, I don't like the way I feel. So it has to avoid pain and move towards pleasure. So what it does is it says, I've got to create a new story. So I get rid of this guilt. I'm not giving up. No, I'm still going to go for it. In fact, I'm going to make sure when I go for it, I am so ready that I'm going to get even more results than I thought. Now, this is what your brain is telling your subconscious so you can avoid feeling bad. So you know what? It's February 14th. I've got too many things going on here. It's Valentine's Day. Today is not the day to work on my business. I've got to go do something. Let me go to the store and buy some flowers. Let me go find a place to have dinner. So you become busy instead of productive. And then tomorrow is, well, it's a short month. It's February, a short month. On March 1st, that's what I'm going for. So what happens in March 1st, you create another excuse. And then you don't feel like you even have to go for it anymore because you've given up. And that's called a pattern of restriction. You develop a belief that what you want isn't possible for you, so you give up trying it. And that comes from previous experiences that you've tried to go for something and it didn't work. And so your brain says, hey, do you remember we went to this other thing, this other project? Maybe we were trying to lose weight or get in better shape or quit smoking or making more money or surrounding yourself with other people where we're not shy. Or do you remember that incident, brain? And your brain goes, yeah, I do remember that incident. Well, what makes you think you do it again? Wait, we failed then. Hold on a second. Let's not go forward. Let's just stop and take a break. We're missing something. And so your brain is conditioning itself and it reinforces the pattern of let's procrastinate. Let's create a new story. And then what happens is you come across another inspirational, inspiring, where somebody says, why don't you do this? And you're like, oh my God, I had that. I wanted to do that. And you get all pumped up, all motivated again. And you're back on track. The first week you're going for it. You're investing in your time. You're investing your information, your knowledge, your relationships. You're spreading the word. You're all excited about it. And people go, well, you did that before. And so you start listening to other people, what they can't do. And you go, hey, maybe that is me. And so then you start believing other people's limitations. And you're like, wait a second. If I'm in charge of my mind, I'm in charge of what things mean to me. Why am I doing this? Because that pattern of restriction says, hang on a second. Do you remember when we tried this before? And so boom. And so what do is you give up a little bit. You give up, you feel bad. When you feel bad, you got to do what? Change the story. So you say, listen, my life is good enough. Why would I take a risk? Besides, I want to spend more time with my family and I have enough money and I've got a good enough life. You don't have a good enough life because people settle. You may have an okay life, but you're not here to have an okay life. You're here to make a difference in your life, to live the most incredible, powerful life that you are here for. Every single day you don't move forward. There's only one reason, is you're only thinking about what you're not getting for yourself instead of how you can give and contribute to somebody else. And that's why people procrastinate. They focus on what they're not getting instead of how they can give.
That's really insightful.
Isn't it weird?
But clearly
that's human beings
for a long time, because you're as you're speaking about it, and the more people that I interact with, I can see that you've just identified these patterns by 30 years of working with people.
Yeah.
And having the same complaints over and over again. Why can't I be successful? Is this what's the biggest complaint that you hear?
Well, here's what the other thing is, where they go, well, yeah, why don't they become successful financially when we know it? And whenever I'm doing an intervention or asking somebody, hey, you want to be a non-smoker, you want to make more money, you want to, have a better relationship. And you go, yeah, I've tried everything. I've done it all. I've tried everything. Yeah. Okay. I hear that all the time. So I ask him, I go, okay, you've tried everything and you have all these reasons why, but if I give you $100,000 to do something in 3 months, would you do it? They go, yeah. So they already know they can do it. Then why don't they do it? Why holds them back? Is, like I say, they're only focused on themselves. Here's why people have money blocks, is something they've experienced in the past. Somebody has told them something. They have it identified as a belief that money is evil. You got to hurt people to get to the top. Oh my God, I don't want people to think I'm selfish, I'm greedy. Well, let me ask you this. That's one identity of people having a block of money. Imagine the fact that whenever I'm speaking on stage and somebody has this money block, and you've heard me do this in a live event, you're focused on, I don't want people to misjudge or misconstrue and think that I'm better than them. It's not that at all. The fact is that to prove that you're not better than them, then why don't you make enough money and give them an example and be the example of what money and the power money can do? If you have enough money, do you know how much it takes to to save a child from sex trafficking? $1,500 a person. Why not go make an extra $1,500 and donate that and save a child that's being sex trafficked, or to feed a child, or to help a military, or to help somebody that's in need? Why can't you use money for that? Well, because you don't think that way. People don't think that way. You know what they do? They think about, I don't want people to judge me. I have a nicer car and I can get a nicer. Okay, that's all true. Is that really purpose driven? It's okay to have those things. I don't want anybody to think that you don't deserve to have those things. And at the same time, you also have a moral obligation, I believe, is we have to give back. If you want true growth, real growth, and you want to know what it's really like to receive, you've got to give. And the moment you start giving and accepting the gift, I just literally got done in the jungle. And we did an event with somebody. And it was a great event. And the gentleman there had a 12-week program to really help people get their business to the next level. And it was $5,500. A gentleman stands up and says, I want to sponsor that girl. She stands up and says, no way, I'm not going to let you do that. Well, I about lost it right there. You should never tell that in front of me when I have a microphone, because I am going to make it very clear on what they just did. And I said, I didn't know you were that selfish. I says, imagine when you give somebody a gift and they accept that gift. You think you're doing it because it makes you feel good? You're giving that gift so they can receive it. But think about this. Who really got the gift? Now, you just told that man, no, I'm too good to accept your money. And I know I can make more money. I says, imagine the children that are starving because you just said no to that man. Now, think about this. How do you think he feels right now? He tried to give you something from his heart and you said no. I said, you're extremely selfish because you think you're a giver. A real giver accepts a gift because they know what they can turn it into. I says, why can't you take this gift? In addition to that, you go out and make more money and then you get to sponsor somebody else next time. Why don't you think that way instead of, oh, I don't want to accept the gift. Oh, I'm too good. You know what? You want to be really the true giver? Accept the gift. Be the inspiration. And after that little meeting I had with her, she gracefully accepted the gift. She's doing fantastic right now. And somebody else in that event, anonymously, I found out who it was, sponsored somebody else to do the same thing. Okay. So you see how contagious this can be? And those that don't accept the gift when somebody's trying to give it to you, they're not real givers. They're only takers because they only want to give because it makes them feel good. But when you receive something and you say no, it's like saying, well, you know, I don't, your money's not good. I'm better than you. I just had somebody tell me just 2 days ago, he says, call me if you have a situation. This is why I don't want to bug you. I says, basically, am I bugging you? So what you're telling me is you just told me that if I have a situation, I can't call you anytime. No, I don't mean it like that. I go, well, what did you say by that? Because if you're telling me that you don't want to bug me, that means that I can't bug you. Is that true? And he goes, I understand. So when somebody needs you, you allow them and encourage them to reach out to you. I'm actually coaching a group right now, Jed, and it's like, I says, you can't wait when somebody wants your help and they're reaching out to you. You got to grab them. You got to take it. You got to go for it. I says, here's the challenge with that is you can't wait till they reach up. It might be too late. When you notice somebody needs you, you got to reach down and pull them up. They don't have enough strength to lift their arm up to ask for help. People are afraid to ask for help. You have to recognize that. And then you make a change. And then you make a difference in their life. Because if you don't make a difference, they're going to create a story that they're thinking, nobody cares about me. I'm unloved and I have nothing to give. Where maybe you don't have anything to give. You have much to give and nothing to prove. And they think it's they have to prove something to somebody.
Yeah. I know that I got stuck in that having to prove something. And it just, that made me lose my other question. You've got so many insights, Mark. As you were talking about this young lady accepting the gift, it was making me think about what would have made me in the past if I would have not accepted the gift, but what would have limited me. And there's the book Start with Why, and everybody always says start with why. You've got to have your reason, to start. And recently, it, like strangely, I didn't think that trafficking kids was going to be like some big thing to me. When you put a number on it, $1,500 per kid, I just became aware just like 6 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe, about how serious this issue is. And it's it's made me realize all those things that you just said. We got to get bigger so that we can get $1,500 per kid.
Actually, you know what? I know Tony Robbins, I just remember him saying it's actually $500 a kid. Different organizations that cost more money. Obviously, the bigger organizations, the more power they have. And, now you've got power in numbers. So imagine saving 3 kids with $1,500.
Right.
What if that was your kid?
The number I was working with before was 25,000 like per mission, and so I was like, man,
okay,
25,000. And so anyway, whatever I can feel to make a difference to that one dang kid, I say dang kid, right? Like,
yeah,
it's so important that, I mean, to have that as the mission and the why, and to see that as my kids, like, that's what helped me make that connection and be like, this is a horrible thing that needs to be eradicated from the earth. And so it helped me just find the drive, the passion. And it was almost like an awareness just clicked in, and so many of those old patterns just melted away. What can you share with people to help them find the why, wake up that, for me, it was that.
Stop focusing on what you're not getting and how you can serve and give. Everybody's so worried about what am I going to get? It's a consumer mindset versus an investor mindset. Consumer mindset says, well, how much is it going to cost? Will I get value out of it? Let me think about it. And then they procrastinate. And then they never do anything, because if they take action, then there's responsibility there. You have to respond to the ability of what you just invested in. So they go, no, I don't want to do that. So what if you had an investor mindset that says, how much am I going to make? What is the result? And then how much does it cost? The result of the fact is, if that was your kid being sex trafficked, you wouldn't put a price on there. You would absolutely freaking go for it, because you created reasons why. What we can do is justify, well, it's not my kid. I don't really know that person. So is it really going for that? And then you tell these stupid stories in your head, because your brain plays tricks on you, and it leaves your heart. See, your heart is always there beating with love. And ironically, we're in Valentine's Day, but the head will get the heart to be a distraction. So what if we listen to our heart and go, you know what? Let's find the reasons why. Let's make this. First, let's do 1 child. And then next month, let's do 2. And then let's tell somebody, so the next month we can do 3 or 4. See, then you share this information instead of hold it back. Encourage, inspire, uplift, make people step up instead of step back. And when you can do that, now you've got a momentum, you've got a movement going on. Just because you decided to create a news story that says, it's not about me. And yet it really is, because how does it make you feel when you really do that? And that's the truth. Every thought is a physical response. When you know you're supposed to be doing something and you don't do it, your brain has to constantly think, I got to create a new story so I don't feel this pain. The reason the pain is there because you haven't got the lesson. So what are you going to do? You got to get the lesson. What's the lesson? Stop focusing on what you're not getting and how you can give, how you can spread it out there. If it wasn't you and it was somebody else, we'll do more for somebody else. It was your child, your daughter, your son, your mother, your father, your grandkid, whatever it is. I promise you, there wouldn't be excuses. There'd only be results. And you'd figure it out, and you'd be on a momentum that nothing could stop you. Nobody gets in your way. Because we're not personally involved, and until we are, we just go, well, maybe I don't really need to do this. I think I'll procrastinate some more. That's what happens. And these are patterns that 95% of human beings fall into every day they wake up. They're in a routine. And then we turn on this thing called the television programming, and we get programmed to think that, hey, negative publicity is okay. And we rile people up over it. Instead of coming together as a community, a unity, a common unity, what do? We want to join forces with negativity and find what's wrong instead of what's right. There's always things wrong in this world, and there's always things right. It doesn't matter what race, religion, political belief you have. There's wrong and right in every single thing. What you focus on, you're going to attract, and that's who you're going to attract into your life. So what do you want? How do you want to feel? What are you wanting to do? And what are you willing and capable of doing? And when you sit down and you write down clearly what your vision and your mission is in life, you can make a difference in somebody else's life, which instantly makes a difference in yours. You want to be real value, true value, then make a difference in somebody else's life. Step up and stop making excuses. Create an empowering story that you can share with somebody else. And you're not here to change one person's life. You're here to change as many as you possibly can. It starts with the one.
That's amazing work. Man, you're so right. As you explained that, as soon as I made the shift, or what allowed me to make the shift, was that awareness, being able to say, hey, we've got to put my needs aside and save those kids. That as soon as you said it, that's why I like having you as a coach, Mark. Like, sometimes I feel, if I say so dumb, that I have to have somebody tell it to me, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing that. And it works. You're amazing, man.
Yeah, I was on a coach call the other day, and they said, hey, put in the chat how you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10. They were going, it's a 4 today, it's a 6, it's a 5. I blew up. I was like, how are you showing up? If you're showing up and waking up in a 4 and a 5 and a 6, imagine a fighter going there, or a sports guy going into a day and goes, hey, how you feeling? Well, I'm getting ready to fight one of my toughest opponents. I feel like about a 4 or 5. I'll see what happens. You are not going to last a round or two. Well, what makes you think you're going to last in business or in your relationship if that's what you're giving, if that's how you are? How do you shift that energy? What creates the energy? If you're not at a 9 or a 10 every day, then you're falling backward. You got to step into it, Get up, listen to some music, your favorite song, move your body, find reasons to succeed. I was getting up at 4 o'clock every morning. I was just so empowered and just excited about everything. I would call my coach. I go, dude, I'm up at 4 o'clock. He would be up. He goes, so am I. I said, good. What's interesting is even successful people have coaches because we need them. We need coaches to keep us accountable. Without that coach, then we get to slack off. See, that's the whole thing. We got to keep ourselves accountable so we could all of us step up. And you've got to show up at these 9s and 10s. You may have a bad situation, but you know what? Let it pass. Don't move in there. Just bypass it. Open the door, close the door, and move on. I think Kevin O'Leary, the Shark Tank, said, hey, businesses are businesses. When things aren't going good, just wait it out. It'll show up to be right. It'll fix itself. When you have multiple businesses, you can't get caught up in the negativity. You create solutions. You create reasons why you want to succeed. You find the answer. Look for what you want, the end result. The answers will show up. Don't rush them, accept them, and make sure you surround yourself with the people that have the answers. Get yourself some coaches. Go out there and make a difference. When you wake up, feel good about yourself. If you're having a tough day, take a nap, wake up and pop up again. You've been to our seminars. I just got off the phone with Ruben. He's like, man, this guy's on Red Bull times 10, and he doesn't even drink Red Bull.
Right.
That's his life. That's his attitude, And when you surround yourself with that, it makes you accountable. Who you surround yourself with is what you're going to mirror and match. That's why the military has such a high standard that when they're in the military, they're not going to slow down. They're going to step up. The moment they get out, they're around civilians. What are the energy and expectations of their peers then? Not very much. Low expectation, low results. High expectation, accountability, surround yourself with a team. Man, you are gonna find strengths and creativity in places in your mind and body that you never knew existed. Yeah. And you'll be able to accomplish the things you get to accomplish because you know what? The military has to save the world. They're responsible for a lot more than just us every day. And so they have to have this high standard. They have to create that, and they've got to step into their power. I remember one time somebody says, in order for a military, you don't get ready, you got to be ready. I went to an event in Las Vegas, and there was maybe a 3 to 5% chance they may want me to speak. I got up at 4 a.m, created slides just for that event, just in case they go, hey, we heard you're a hypnotist. We got some blocks here. Can you do a quick demonstration real fast for us? Just in case. Now, I had to go to Phoenix that day, but I think they may have asked me. Well, now I'm going to Salt Lake to meet with them, because what I did was they invited me in, and they said, hey, here's the guy that toured with Robert Kiyosaki. He tours all over the world. We would love to hear his opinion. And I go outside, I talk to the promoter. I said, yeah, I wanted to show you some things. He goes, this has our colors, has everything. I said, I didn't know. If you needed me, I'm always ready. I'm always ready at a moment's notice. And how do you give? Everyone says, well, you got to under promise and over deliver. I hate when they say that. You know what you do? You over promise and over deliver. Here's why. And I would just talking to people about this. Here's why you over promise. The moment you say I under promise and over deliver, you just gave yourself permission to say, well, I don't have to go the extra mile because they're only expecting a half a mile. Give your own mind permission to back off instead of step up. Isn't that interesting? And what do everybody out there teach? You got to under promise and over deliver. They don't even realize hypnotically what they're saying. Yeah. They're using what I call SLP, subconscious linguistic programming.
Subconscious
linguistic programming. You've heard of NLP, neuro-linguistic, subconscious linguistic programming. It's something that we've decided we wanted to start using because I deal with the subconscious. What you're saying gets you to be accountable. When you immediately say, I'm going to over-deliver, now you're stepping it up from an 8 or 9 to a 10 plus, because you know you over-delivered at 8s and 9s. And you under-promise. I'm going to promise you a 3, but I'll give you a 5 or 6, and I'll probably give you an 8. What if you over-promised? What do you think you got to do? You got to bring things to that relationship to get massive value.
Yeah.
And and then you don't sell anybody. You don't have to sell anybody anything because they want to buy from you. You stop selling to somebody because they want what you have. And now they're buying from you because they know this person not only absolutely believes it, they're going to do it. He or she's going to absolutely over-deliver. They're over-promising. Nobody does that.
Yeah. You do, and it's amazing.
I hold myself at a higher standard. That's why. And everyone says, yeah, but you're smart, man, because you've gone to Harvard and, you were born into wealth and all that. That's why. And then I said, oh, I didn't know I went to Harvard. Oh, no, I never went to Harvard. I was not born into money. I'm a high school dropout, straight Fs. You know my story. Don't have a high school diploma. And I left home at 12 years old. You know what? I didn't have a choice.
You're like,
they say you do, but you don't. I choose to go, there's 2 roads, be the victim or step in. And I said, I'm going to step into it.
You're like that horse that won that race. You were showing that video.
No.
that event.
Rich Strike.
Which race?
Rich Strike. It was May 7th, 2022. There was 30 seconds. I could tell you the story, dude.
Yeah, do it.
There was 30 seconds, right? A horse was scratched. They had to get in this race. He said, we'll put you in. We'll put you in under one condition. We give you the worst spot possible, 20th place. We know you're not going to win, but give you 20th place. You had 19 horses to pass. Now, this jockey's never been in a Kentucky Derby. Mm-hmm. The horse only won 1 race out of 7. The trainer, Eric Reed, actually had a bonfire, lost 24 horses 2 years ago, and he actually lost his friend to cancer. He wanted to give up, right? And they bought this horse. They bought the Rich Strike. They bought this horse for $30,000. Dude, nobody believed in him. Yeah. Nobody in the world, except what happens in life when you forget to believe all the other people that don't believe in you. See, they didn't believe in themselves, but you got to remember, that horse had heart.
Yes.
That jockey had determination. And Reed, the trainer, he had 1 shot. They said, give us a shot. You give me 1 shot. And sometimes in life, you get 1 shot. It's not that you're too old. You have to be open all the time. And they opened those gates. And here's what happened. 75, 80, 85% of the race, the horse was in 17th, 18th, 19th place, 20th place, last place. So what does that mean? Do you give up and go, oh, the race is over? No, you got one finish, one time. They box this horse in. They won't let him through. And all the jockey said is, Rich, we got one shot. We're not going to give up. And he got that horse and he was just going for it. They found ways of getting through there. They never mentioned Rick Strike's name. 2-minute race, never mentioned his name until 4 seconds before the end of the race. When that horse went zipping by and he passed the first horse and they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But you know what? They believed it. And when you have a belief in yourself and you have the right team, stop listening to what the world. They won $1.86 million. May 11th, 2013 were the last time it was the odds where it was 91-1. So you're telling me that, oh, nobody believes in you, give up? You know who gives up? The world gives up, except when you're deaf and blind to the fact that you give me one shot in life and I'm going to show you something you ain't never seen before. And that's the attitude we got to have. Because when we have that attitude, it don't matter who we're racing. I ain't racing 19 other horses. I'm going for this.
Yeah.
And that's heart. That's when you got heart.
Right. Now, one question I want to ask real quick to tie all of this together. When we can get the heart and we have all these other things now, when we have the 30 days later and they get these programs playing, like for me, my parents were very, very negative influences about hypnosis. There's just all of this negative belief about it. It damages psyche. Like, it's things, the tools that have helped me the most are the tools that I've had to overcome my fear around even investigating. How do you help people get around some of these fears about, like some of these patterns keep us afraid to even go look in the book for the answer that we might even know the answer we're looking for is in the book and we won't open it. What some of these belief patterns?
Well, what you're doing is you're putting an identity to a word. I always say this, forget about the word hypnosis.
Okay.
Maybe there's that word is hypnosis, and some people go, lose control, give them my free will, vulnerable, letting spirits in, or whatever the belief is.
Yeah.
That's what that word is. So I tell them this, I forget about hypnosis. I don't even believe in hypnosis myself. I think it's all garbage. However, is it possible you may have some programs on your mind that are not giving you the results you could have, should have, and can make a difference in somebody's life? Nah, maybe you procrastinate or have a little fear. Maybe you need to lose weight. Maybe you need to learn to communicate. Is it possible that you could have some programs that you would like to change and empower? Just forget the hypnosis. Is it possible? And they all say yes. Well, if your conscious mind is constantly thinking and analyzing and deciding and telling all these stories in your head, but your subconscious mind takes everything literally, like this computer we have right now, we're talking on. What it is, it's got a hard drive. And there's times where you don't even have to do anything. And on this hard drive, this computer, without even realizing it, it'll get a program on there that will slow your computer down. And it happens so subtly, you don't even realize it's on there. And then you get another kind of little virus or program that it slows it down a little more. And then before you know it, you go, hang on a second. Conscious mind goes, my computer's not working like I thought. I wonder what it is. Oh, I need to reprogram, get a better program to eliminate whatever is negative on my computer so I can get faster, better, quicker results. That's what I need to do. My computer, well, what if I just ignore it and I just close the computer and 10 years later, it should wipe itself out? Because if I just repress it and don't talk about anything from the past, it'll go away. Oh, not only does it not go away, it actually empowers those negative programs. And when you open your computer, when you wake up 10 years later and you haven't dealt with or made the changes, then you have even more programs. So is it possible we can get these slight, tiny programs that will eventually affect our results? Absolutely. So open to the idea of Would you be willing to empower your mind, like motivate your subconscious, like you do? You watch advertising because they want you to identify with pleasure about buying certain things. So they're advertising, they're giving you ads so you can actually advertise your whole body. So why can't we use our mind and get the right programs on there? So let's get rid of some negative programs. Now, do you believe in like meditation and positive thinking and all that? Well, sure. Okay, let's just use that. Get rid of the word hypnosis. I don't even like it myself. In fact, I'm not even a hypnotist anymore. I just get people neurologically to change some programs they don't want. Subliminal linguistic programming. I am going to simply talk to my subconscious in a positive way of what I want instead of telling all the things I don't want. And I'm going to teach my brain how I can get positive results so I can empower. I can talk about spiritual growth and I can become even more inspirational in the church. And I can do that with people that are making money. I can do that in relationships. I can do that with children. I wonder if that's negative now. No, why? Because we simply changed one word. And the word comes from belief of what the illusion, that dirty word that starts with H, hypnosis is, control, giving up your free will, all that stuff. So once you understand what it is, when I go overseas, I don't talk about hypnosis. I talk about programming, conscious mind, subconscious. The brain is the conscious and the subconscious is the hard drive. Let's just program some hard drives. Neurologically speaking, it's a scientific thing. It's like if you go to the gym and work out and you work out, your body gets bigger. Well, that's because you're giving it what it needs. When you work your brain, it creates better results. You're giving it what it needs.
Right. Well, Mark, that is awesome. I thank you for sharing that with us. That's what we have time for today. Let me find your book. What was the name of your book?
Creating the Life That You Want. And you can go get it for free as a download. If they'd like to give it away, I'd love people to download it and kind of understand a little bit about how you can receive the things in life that you want. You don't have to use hypnosis. Just get some new programs on your subconscious.
Right. And they'll download that from www.successcombination.com. I'll get the link in there.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
We'll do the, I thank you so much for your time. And just thanks for all the listeners for tuning into Pulverizing the Patterns podcast. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, brother.
You are a pillar. And I know that we're going to have a lot of benefit and help to a lot of people. And I appreciate you for being here, man.
Thank you for tuning into the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast, where Jed Brotherson takes you on a journey to confront the roots of your discontent and emerge significant. Remember to visit our website at www.pulverizingthepatterns.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Pulverizing the Patterns podcast.